because I think it's not that easy, to spend a couple of hours in one place. I do appreciate for your all participation and the gathering. Well, final provocation. Of course, this is online, live, so streaming to many people at the moment. And lastly, we have. I'm sorry, I'm talking in English. 죄송합니다. I realize that I am talking in English. 네, 이제 마지막 세션으로 우리 이번 세션의 맨 마지막 이제 provocation이라고 얘기한 거는 정말 different 모델이고 새로운 것들을 제시하자 자기의 액티비스트로서 정말 활동을 하고 있는 Hilde Lynn Helphenstein이라는 정말 또 하나의 멋진 아름다운 예술가입니다. 이 작가가 아까 얘기했던 것처럼 레리 고고시안을 약간 비평하면서 제리 고고시안이라는 이름으로 또한 프로젝트를 하고 있고 오늘 힐데의 이야기로 맨 마지막 프로보케이션 세션을 마무리하고자 합니다. We welcome Hilde Lynn Helphenstein. Thank you.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I'm just kidding. Before we begin, I would like you to look at this excellent picture of me here in all Prada, holding the first painting that I ever commissioned in 1995. I sat for an oil painting by a street artist that I met in Yekaterinburg, Russia. And I begged my dad for 25,000 rubles, which was equivalent to $5. And I went to this artist and I was like, I don't want a caricature. I was like, I want an oil painting. And the guy, this is when the USSR had fallen and they were kind of, there were bread lines and empty grocery stores. And this was a real artist. And that money meant something. And that was my first time, 9 years old, sort of engaging with the art world, if you will. Okay. So actually, just for a correction, my alter ego, this voice that I write in, Jerry Gagosian, is not me. And I want to speak as me, because me, I'm lovable, I'm cuddly, I'm sweet, and I'm earnest. Jerry is a very sassy gay man who can be quite cutting at times. And honestly, if you're here right now, you're really not the person who I want to cut, because you've spent a day thinking about the future of art, and we need more people like you who, frankly, excuse my dirty American mouth, give a shit. All right, but here we go. We're going to talk. So I'm starting off with a term that I think most people in the art world are very aware of. Art is a soft power. It's a very powerful soft power. And I always ask myself, because I live in one of the richest areas in America, okay? I live in a place called Westport, Connecticut. And no one knows about art there. And these people can absolutely afford it. And when I start to engage with my people in my community about why they don't know about art, they talk about, well, it's very snobby. They describe the friction and how hard it is to even get to fall in love with or find out about art. So they'll live in these incredible historic colonial homes, and they have artwork that they bought for $39.99 from a store called Home Goods, or something from IKEA, or if they're really going big, maybe Restoration Hardware. And that drives me insane, because there's too much good art out there. So my big question today is, when is the art world going to let the rest of the world fall in love with them? Okay. Problem. Martine, you kind of addressed one of my things, so thanks for stealing my valor. Okay, the market. The current global art market is seeing a massive decline. If anybody read Zachary Small's piece in the New York Times that came out about 3 weeks ago, there's a huge market correction, and we're currently in trouble. I'm not totally freaked out about it because I know enough about money markets to know that things are cyclical, things come back. Millionaires were made during the Great Depression. Money moves, money migrates. I'm not permanently worried about the state of the art market, but right now we're in a decline, and I want to highlight that. At the same time, we're in the middle of one of the largest wealth transferences, which is what Martine said earlier. And that has to be acknowledged, that people are going to be inheriting homes, they're going to be inheriting all kinds of assets that, for all intents and purposes, will need art. There's also some pretty crazy taxes that people end up paying when they inherit art, and that's why a lot of it ends up at auction and people don't hold on to it. But yeah, that's just another thing. Now, art. So there's all different kinds of asset classes, and I've really been thinking, like, what kind, where does this fit? So I went to ChatGPT for this, okay? Because I gave ChatGPT the most precise analysis of what kind of asset I think art was. And it came back with, it's a high beta asset. Art is viewed as a highly speculative Veblen good, meaning it's not necessary. It's technically not necessary for anyone. And it's for the normal person, not you who spent all day here, but for the normal person, it fits somewhere in the luxury market. And I'm sorry, this is going to be a little hard for you to read. I thought it would be bigger. But we know we need art. I've been playing with these mind maps and trying to sort of map out what happens in the world if we don't have art. Because like I just said, it's a Veblen good. We don't need it to survive. It's not shelter. It's not nutrition. It's not necessarily love and support from a family member. Nevertheless, a society becomes incredibly sick without art. So we know that it's here and that it needs to be supported. If you would like to see my mind map later, please see me. I will send you this PDF. Okay. The world is hurting right now. I don't know why you're hurting. I don't know why you're hurting. I don't know why you're hurting. But the world is hurting. Politics are complicated right now. Geopolitics are complicated right now. The financial markets are complicated right now. And then just being alive. I went to a Buddhist temple yesterday, and they were talking about happiness, and I was just like, I don't know what that means. Because the world is crazy right now. So we'll look at these cute little puppies, and then you think about what's making the world hard for you. What makes the world scary for you? I'm not going to define that right now. Okay. Now, coming to Korea, and I hope everyone can understand me who's in here. You guys have to know that this is my third time coming. And after coming one time, I started to study your economy. I'm super interested in what you guys have built in the last 50, 60 years, and the efficiency that this country has created, and the ability that you guys have been able to harness soft power through K-pop and K-dramas, right? And beauty, actually. Let's not leave that one out. It's everywhere. People in America are obsessed with K-pop. They're obsessed with K-drama. They're obsessed with your insane 10-step skincare routines, and they spend hundreds of dollars on it, myself included. But I think there's something to learn about the mechanisms of how you guys have achieved this. Because let's face it, art is expensive. Personally, I feel lucky that I've met a few people who want to go on crazy trips with me and fund my ideas, but that's kind of, right now, a lucky situation. Art is going to have to become industrialized. And doesn't that feel disgusting when I say that out loud? Doesn't that just like burn in your soul with everything you know about art history? Doesn't the word kitsch like give you the ick? Doesn't like mass-produced kind of make you tremble? The idea of posters, it's just a poster. Well, I have news for you, my friends. There are consumers that have money and they want to spend it. And the art world completely misses out on the lower and the middle market. When you go to an art fair, you can buy, if you have $500 to $1,000, you know what you can buy? A tote bag, a cold turkey sandwich, and a cup of coffee, and then goodbye. That's crazy. You go into any department store, they want that $500, they want that $1,000, but the art world turns its nose up against it. We're too good for that. And then we're sitting here, and I'm saying we as a collective we, but the art world outside, crying right now about how the market's down and no one's buying and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because you have put all your eggs in the basket of a few very rich people. And you have completely ignored the rest of the world. Meanwhile, the art world loves to preach inclusivity. We love everyone. Art's supposed to be for everyone. But you know what? It's an $800,000 painting, so you can't come in. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting, and it's rude, and it's offensive. And why is it rude and offensive? Because you know what people end up being able to buy? Whatever IKEA or Walmart is selling. And what is IKEA and Walmart selling? Some poster that says, live, love, laugh. Or like some weird drawing of a rooster or something. And so what we've essentially built by building this highly exclusionary art market is we are saying the rest of the world isn't good enough for art. And isn't that literally the opposite reason of what art is here for? How crazy is that? That we have built a financial system that completely neglects it. And the minute that you talk about something being affordable, it's tacky. It's gauche. I don't want it. It's the opposite. And I say this to artists. I mentor a lot of artists through my Instagram page. Your art is about your social pain. Your art is about the things you go through in life. Your art is about hope. Your art is about love. You're on very, very high levels. Why don't you want to share that with somebody's grandmother who's in the kitchen every day? Why don't you want to share that with somebody who's in college, who can only afford a $30 poster. The art world and our financial woes right now, we've done this to ourselves. We've put ourselves in this corner. And I don't feel sorry for anyone right now, because we are in the most opportune moment to change. I think the next slide says change or die. Hold on. Oh no, we'll talk about timing. Okay. Who was talking about the next generation? The lady with the iconic hair, Pearl? Pearl, this one goes out to you. So we need to take the media consumption of the next generation seriously. So as somebody who's chronically online and has a tendency to rot in bed with my iPhone, like so many other people, it is impossible to keep up with the speed of what is going on. Most people that are in here don't understand, and I don't think an archive will ever exist of all of the art that is being made on social media. I would say give up on that idea. The way that an artwork now functions is through mimesis, through memes. A good meme will echo through the dreams and the thoughts of millions of people. And that is why artists need to be playing with the idea of making memes, because it is the way to echo your ideas and your thoughts to people. And you're talking about immateriality. I mean, I think it's very cool to have buildings with like projections and people can take Instagram photos. That's also another way to do it. But really, everyone is on their phone. And soon there's going to be technology where, you know, they're twitching in their eye and they're all living inside their own brain. And what algorithms do is it just feeds you what it thinks you want. And so we're teaching ourselves to believe certain ideas, have certain dreams through the memes that we consume. So being digitally literate, which I do not think the art world is, no offense, because sometimes I make jokes online that are big global jokes that everyone else seems to know about, and somebody will say, well, this is so offensive. And I'm like, no, this is a meme format. And somebody in finance is using this same meme format to make a joke about their industry. And somebody in the fashion industry is making a meme about it in that way. And it's like I encounter so much digital illiteracy, and it is our job to try to hang on to this wild beast. Okay, this is my favorite part. Change or die. So, one of my favorite people in the art world is in this room, Martine. She sees the future, you guys. One of my other favorite people who I love and I listen to is Amy Capolazzo. And Amy Capolazzo helped inspire me to go to business school. And, you know, I studied art for 7 years. I created Jerry Gagosian that turned into a wild beast that is actually now a business. It started as a conceptual art project on my phone. But I started feeling stagnant. And I was like, I don't know what to do with this thing anymore. Do I just delete it? Like, I kind of hate it. And then Amy was like, you need to go to business school. And you need to figure out, even if it's not with Jerry, what your next step is going to be. And I'm not encouraging everyone to go to business school unless you want to take statistics and data analysis and accounting and finance. Not fun. But it broke my brain again because I realized that, I'm 30, 39, I'm getting up there. brain elasticity, it's getting tough. I didn't want to stay in the same frame of mind. So as an artist, bleeding heart artist, I was like, you know what? It's time for me to learn about money. It's time for me to learn what a market is and then see how it can apply to art. Because everything that I see, everything I think about, it goes through the filter of art. So I'm sitting in microeconomics, and I'm trying to figure out how it relates to art. I'm thinking about stats. I'm trying to equate it all to art. I'm a very annoying business student. So, where do we go? Because I don't want to just be up here complaining, especially to you lovely people who have given me extra time and, you've been here all day. But I want to talk about where things are going and where the art world can lead in. So the first one is world building. It's kind of annoying. It's a big term right now in fashion. You can silently give me a round of applause for becoming LVMH certified, which means I took a course through business school to learn and understand how LVMH is structured. And they are putting so much money into art right now because they understand that if they create a world full of art, dripping in beautifully aestheticized ideas, concepts that come to life, people will want to spend more money. Can you imagine that? So, world building. It can't be like Frieze. And, Lord knows I love Art Basel. That's where I realized I was an artist in 2005. But it can't be that either. We have to build a world. And I think looking at luxury retail is a very good example. Harrods. I love Harrods in London. You walk into Harrods, and you're overwhelmed. And you can get every luxury fashion brand that you want at every single price point. You can also get dresses for $58 at Harrods. You can also get dresses for $19,000 at Harrods. And you can eat delicious food, and you can hear good music, and you can hang out. And there's lots of places to sit. And guess what? The people are nice to you, and they don't judge you if you want to buy something. And they don't care if you're spending $58 or if you're spending $19,000. They want you to spend money. The other thing is fandoms. So I have a fandom. I have a universe of friends. I have parasocial relationships. It's a little weird sometimes, but it's great. Why doesn't Art Basel have a fandom? Why is it static, still images that feel like dead stars? They have 1 million followers plus, and they are not engaged with correctly. And it's a waste, it's a waste, it's a waste. Because guess what? I asked Instagram, what is the best art gallery in the world? I got back thousands of answers, and I wrote them all down. And do you know what the biggest art gallery in the world is right now? It's Instagram. It's not Gagosian, it's not Hauser & Wirth, it's not Pace, it's not Periton, it's Instagram. And creating a fandom and allowing people to have an emotional attachment, which requires authenticity, which requires someone to be earnest, to be genuine, to talk about these things, to not use art speak, to not gatekeep people. I wish I had you're not there, Mark. I wish I had Art Basel's 1 million followers. I'd like to talk to them every day. I'd like to play around with them every day. I'd like to ask them fun questions. I'd like them to feel like art is alive, because everyone in this room knows that it is. Now I'm gonna switch to something that may or may not annoy you, depending on how much you follow my Instagram. But we're gonna talk about Swiftonomics. Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift builds economies. I recently wrote a paper where I did an analysis between the financial effects and how an economy is built when an art fair comes to town versus when Taylor Swift comes to town. The numbers are astoundingly different. Astoundingly different. Thousands, tens of thousands of jobs are created when Taylor Swift comes to town. She sells $1 million worth of merchandise per concert. Per concert. Her 2-year Eras tour is going to make $2.2 billion. That's one person. That's one artist. We have an art world full of people that are equally as talented as her, just in a different way. So who's going to be the Taylor Swift of the art world? Now, I'm going to go back to K-pop. There is a machine, there is a mechanism, there's organization around how K-pop stars are created. I believe there needs to be agencies, not art galleries anymore, that enable artists to truly accomplish their dreams in an organized and almost industrialized way. So, I'm sorry, these numbers are kind of small. But I like this meme that I made. If you like Taylor Swift, if you don't like Taylor Swift, the numbers are there. The numbers are real. Why isn't it like that in the art market? We don't have an excuse. It's time to change. So, can there be a Taylor Swift in the art world? I'm not assuming that it will be me or that it should be me. But it could be me and it could be 25 others. It could be me and it could be 200 more. But again, that would require people who are talented and authentic. Something that, guess what? As soon as you get caught up in the art world mafia, you get silenced. I have friends that are represented by blue chip galleries. They're my friends. They will not fucking talk to me about what's going on in their gallery because they're so afraid that if they say one wrong word, they offend one person, they're dropped, they're done. That's crazy. So what do we create again? We create a world where no one's authentic anymore. When's the last time you went to an artist talk and you're like, wow, that person really just opened up to me? Not often. They'll guard themselves with fancy art talk, art speak, something I'm morally against because I believe it gatekeeps, and they'll put a lot of hot air into the world, but they're saying nothing. And they're saying nothing because they're not allowed to say anything. Because there's a small art cartel of, maybe 5,000, maybe 10,000 people who are buying and selling, and these artists are the little pawns in that. And there's very few people who profit off of it, and the ones who do are silenced, and they end up, like Martine said, making repetitive, boring-ass art that interior designers care about, and that's really it. So, wait, I'm bad at this. Wait, I'm done. So anyway, The last thing that I had on this screen, I don't know how to go back, is this idea of art needing to be the price of a latte. And what I mean by that, lattes are kind of expensive right now, by the way. I don't know how much they cost here, but like my skinny vanilla latte at Starbucks, a venti one, is $12 right now. But I need that because it makes me feel good. I need red lipstick because it makes me feel good. Am I going on luxury vacations right now because of, you know, the tightening that we're all feeling, no matter how rich you are, the markets are down, and it's a tough industry. I'm not going on luxury vacations right now, but I'll splurge on a $12 latte because it makes me feel good. You know what would be really cool? If when people felt like shit, they could go buy a piece of art for $12 and not be judged that it's mass-produced. Wouldn't that be great? And I mean, you know, I like lipstick, I like my latte, but art should be as accessible and readily available as a latte. And it needs to be like that, because guess what, folks? If we do not change, if we do not industrialize, if we do not become organized like any other business, like any other market, art is going to become like classical music. It'll become something where people go once, twice a year, they get dressed up, they look at it, and then they don't think about it again. And I don't want that to happen. So I beg everyone in this audience to think about what I said today. Maybe you loved it, maybe you hate it. But let's get organized and let's keep art alive. And thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you, Hilde, and we loved it. And it is you, really. It is you, it's the other 25 people that you mentioned, but I'd like to think that it's also all of us in this room. And I think that's what your provocation is all about, in the same way that your provocation is about democratizing art, really. So thank you for making us think more proactively, because this is what these art talks are designed about. This is what the Democracy and Culture Foundation wants to achieve, the nexus of democracy and culture, democracy and art. This is what SUUM Project and Ji-Yoon Lee wants to achieve, building bridges between East and West, building bridges between art and business, art and democracy. That's why when I met Ji-Yoon, and it goes back about 2 years now, 3 years, in Athens, on the sidelines of that Jeff Koons and Massimiliano Gioni talk, we found common ground. What I understood then is that how creative Korea, South Korea is, and the need for us to come here, partner with you, and build intercultural bridges, if you like. So thank you, Ji-Yoon, for believing in that and building this partnership. And I hope we can continue doing it year after year. We talked a lot about new paradigms today, a lot of paradigm shifts. I mean, our world is going through tremendous shifts at the moment, tectonic shifts in geopolitical plates. There's the climate crisis, there's inequality. I mean, as you said, Hilde, the list goes on and on and on. What we need to do is shift our mindsets. And that's what we're trying to do with the Art for Tomorrow conference. In fact, 2 years ago, I'll probably get the title wrong, but our title was, Can Art Save the World? Or thereabouts. And we all kind of ran around this issue. Can this be true? I don't know if we were in agreement, but one thing we were in agreement is that the world cannot be saved without art. Because art is not luxury. Art is an essential commodity for the mind, for the heart, for the soul. And pardon the pun with soul. So we will continue in this partnership. I invite you publicly, Ji-Yoon, to come and join us next year in Milan when we do Art for Tomorrow conference, along with Triennale exhibition, which will have a theme of inequalities. So I'm glad to see more and more the art world and biennales and triennales and exhibitions shifting to those themes, because that's what's going to make a difference. What we're doing next year, apart from celebrating our 10-year anniversary, is we're also launching an award. And somebody mentioned on stage that awards is probably a way to get more recognition, to democratize culture. We're launching the Creativity in Social Impact Award, because yes, art can create social change. And that's the thought I'd like to leave you with. Thank you very much for being here, for listening. Thank you to our moderators, Martine and Kim, Ji-Yoon, our speakers, DDP, the sponsors, Lush, the list goes on, and see you very soon. Thank you.